Speeding is a major concern across the entire city, and right now there's a proposal in front of council to lower the city's statutory speed limit. My name's Tom Matthews, and on this episode of The Buzz, I'll be talking to the city manager to find out what this speed limit discussion is all about and how it can impact the city. All right, Mr. Manager, there's a buzz about a change in the city's statutory speed limit. What exactly does that mean, and what are people talking about?
Yeah, so, recently there's been a lot of conversation in many different levels related to the statutory. Currently, right now, the speed limit is 30 miles an hour. There's certain restrictions in certain aspects, whether if you're near a school zone, etc., they changes. But right now, generally, across the city is 30 miles an hour. The proposed ordinance is to change that to 25 miles an hour for the entire city. There's also a proposal that there will be an opportunity to petition for a 20-mile-an-hour zone, depending on the limitations and restrictions within certain areas. But that right now, that's what's at stake, and we've had council discussion. Council have had subcommittee meetings across the city in many different districts to try to generate community input and resident input on this. But that's right now what's being proposed to City Council.
All right, so not every single street in the city is operated by the city of Worcester. There's some that are state, and those streets might have different speed limits. But this statutory speed limit is for the majority of the roadway in the city.
Yeah, that's correct. The state's regulatory speed limits are in different neighborhoods, in different areas of the city. Main roads, like Park Avenue is one of them. Belmont Street is another one. So there's different regulations within those streets, and this here won't impact that those will still remain at those speed limits. But this is for every other general street.
We're on Wasilla Drive right now, residential street. There's lots of families, kids playing. A street like this, the speed limit here is also 30 miles per hour.
That is correct. On a street like this, as you can see, it's very highly dense. There's homes, single-family homes, but this is where you see the kids riding their bicycles, parents walking the dog or the kids in the stroller, or people just washing their car. Or our goal is to reduce it by 5 miles an hour. We're not asking for 15, we're not asking for 12. We're trying to reduce it by 5 miles an hour.
And that 5 miles per hour, do you think that will have much of an impact?
Absolutely, because what that does is when people start to see that, they start to reduce their speeds and understanding and knowing, okay, I got to go a little slower. Because we know not everybody goes the speed limit. A lot of people go above the speed limit.
Yeah.
And so this encourages people to see it and understand, I got to go a little slower and reduce that a little bit more.
And, as far as issues go in the city, I mean, how big and how important of an issue is speeding in the city of Worcester?
It's extremely important because right now we experience a lot of accidents in the city where, depending on the location in certain neighborhoods, we rate as one of the highest in the state. We need to do a better job. Our infrastructure needs to be better. Our policies need to be better. And we need to inform community. Better engineering, better education, and also better enforcement. So all three of those needs to be in place so we can be able to have a much safer road network.
You said enforcement. I think that's a key piece that people jump on and might wonder, okay, well, what if the city just upped its enforcement and maybe that will take care of the situation? That's
a great question. And enforcement it's a little challenging, right? Because currently right now at a 30-mile-an-hour zone, we don't even have the capacity to enforce every single street in the city. We have over 400 miles of streets in the city, 24/7. To be able to police that or provide enough enforcement through our police department, it's extremely difficult. It requires a significant amount of resources. But enforcement, what that does is very temporary, right? You get stopped, you get a ticket, and they give you that ticket, but that's short term. Did that change your behavior for the rest of your life? Did that change your behavior for the rest of the week, for the rest of the day?
Then you're off.
No, you get that ticket and you get mad and you're upset, you gotta pay it, you gotta deal with it. Often than not, your behavior continues the same, right? Why? Because our engineering, in terms of our engineering infrastructure, the regulations on the speed limits have not changed. So it's not encouraging you to change your behavior. And what we're trying to propose is let's reduce the speed limit to then encourage your behavior without enforcing that consistently, because again, we don't have the resources to enforce, even at the current capacity that we're at, because we have over 400 miles to do so.
Proposal has been brought in front of council as an item. There's been some neighborhood meetings, some public discussion. What happens next?
So what happens next is, right now we take that proposal, we'll come back to the council floor, and the council will have an opportunity to have further discussion, and they will make a decision on whether we want to move forward with the ordinance change, or do we continue to have and make no changes to the current ordinance.
Where do you stand on this? What are your thoughts?
As an administration, we fully support from the police department, from DPW, from the transportation and mobility, sustainability and resiliency. All of our departments, we're unified in this. We understand the value of reducing our speeds as a city, and so it's important that we do our part collectively. These cues of the 25-mile zone, reducing it, and people knowing that and showing that, and changing all our signage, that helps to change the behavior. Because again, a 30-mile-an-hour zone, you might have been going 37. You might have been going 38 or 40 or 41, right? But now you put a 25-mile-an-hour zone, and you're aware of that, you might now be going 31. You might now be going 32.
All right, Mr. Manager, thank you so much for taking us through the proposed statutory speed limit in the city. And thank you for tuning in. If you're not already following us, give us a follow on all of our social media and head on over to worcesterma.gov to find out everything else that's happening in the city.